Hi everybody, it's Ia Patsy. And I'm not uploading this directly to YouTube. I'm doing this just on my phone. So I hope it comes out with the right volume and all of that. But I just wanted to share this with you because we're all going through this collective energy. So I'm sure that if I'm feeling this or if I'm having these thoughts, maybe someone else will benefit from this, if not now, in the future. So again, I'm making a lot. The channel is basically for the edification of my daughter and my granddaughters, my great granddaughters when I'm not here anymore, right? To have this as a guide, because if the universe continues for far longer than my life or theirs, then this will continue and become more intense. And the blessing that we have of the internet now, I can't imagine what'll be going on in another 30 years, right? So, but if not, if this is the only type of platform that we have, or if they're still able to access these types of platforms, I want it to be available for them as they go through their spiritual journey, as they are bound to do. Although, in my prayers, I have asked that it ends with me, that they be allowed to live normal, full lives, that they don't come in broken. So let's see what happens. I know that there's things now, my granddaughter, my daughter, they're going to go through, but I'm saying, this is the guidance for them and future generations. And hopefully we'll get this cleared up, right? So anyway, I was sitting here and I'm chilling, and I have a cousin, and she's my baby cousin. Well, actually, she's not. There's lots of littler babies, but she's a baby that has just become an adult. She turned 21. No, well, now she's 23. Her brother just turned 21 recently, so happy birthday to you guys. But she's going on this journey also. So besides having my clients and my subscribers, I have somebody in my family who we can support one another as we're going through this journey and getting to know each other, right? And it has been a blessing. She has been one of my blessings, like I said, besides a few of my clients that I keep in touch with who have become very much my friends. And I hope everybody's well whenever you see this video. And it's good to know my contacts of, different places all over the world and things like that. So that helps me too, because I'm talking to women all around the world, and we're all going through this, all men, women, everybody. So, moving on. The point of this video is I was sitting here thinking about something my cousin had said to me the other day, because I had made a joke. And I was talking about my daughter, and she has her challenges, her chemical imbalances, right? And I've mentioned it before. So I've been dealing with that borderline personality disorder, right? That's what it was been diagnosed as, right? There's authoritative, oppositional, I forget it, but it's something about opposal to authority. Well, I think all of us have that in my family a bit. We we want to do our own thing in a way, but there's different levels of it, and more apt to say, you know what, and walk away from a job or something like that because you feel like you've been disrespected, right? And it's not that you've made it up as blatant. So, you know, that's that's that energy that we have. I was sitting here, we all have about that, with that, but there's different degrees of it. Different people, they're not in my family, but I've known of people who have it to an extreme, and then there's others who have it at different degrees, right? Because everybody's energies are different. There's other things that go on besides your chemicals, there's your placements, and your purpose, and all these other things, right? So it takes a whole lot, because this is energy. It takes a whole lot to make up you and me and us and everybody, right? So we were talking about, did I remember a time when she was good, as an adult? Like, when it wasn't challenging. And I sat there, like, trying to go through. I couldn't think of a time. And that bugged me. It did. Not too crazy, but every now and then during the last couple of days, it would come to my mind. And I would try to just say, let me think. And what I recalled today was that right after she had her babies, I think the hormones of being pregnant with two was just enough to level her out to her masculine and feminine, because she has twins that are fraternal twins. They're not identical, so I have a boy and a girl, right? So this just came to me while I'm sitting here. This is just, Spirit is giving it to me, I guess, to soothe me, or like I said, so I could share it with someone who may need this type of understanding in the future. My daughter carries the energy of two, right? She carries the energy of a masculine and a feminine, right? She embodies that. I say that because my daughter is the product of two people, myself and her father, who were born on the same day, just 2 years apart. So I know that she has had challenges with that because of the fact that he wasn't in her life. But my birthday was still his birthday, whether we mentioned him or not, right? And of course, she knew it was his birthday, and maybe she didn't mention it to me because she didn't want to hurt my feelings. But it wouldn't, sometimes, I don't think so. I would always say it was his birthday or something like that, let her know. Because I didn't talk bad about her father to her. Little do I know, that was not going on the other side of the rainbow, because she was visiting with her grandparents and her aunt, who is hateful and has always hated me since the day she met me, from the time I was 17 years old. And it's always been a challenge, and I'm so glad not to have anything to do with that woman. I forgive her with love and light, because I understand it now, because I understand so much about spirituality and energies and the twin flame journey, and hopefully she'll figure it out. And she's free to watch the videos, and maybe she'll be awakened too, because there's a whole bunch of people who are awakening, including the demons. So, I hope love and light, we'll get to the other side and everybody will be kumbaya. But right now, we good, right? So anyway, that was Brooklyn just now, because that's where, anyway, We good. We good. I peeped your show. I peeped that years ago when I was 17, and it hasn't changed. And I got my validation when clarity came to me, because as bad as I was, nobody blew their head, blew their brains out just not to be connected with me as a baby mama. So I'm at least I got that going for me. So fuck. Anyway, moving on. So if they try to tell you that story in the future, great granddaughter, granddaughter, great 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 granddaughter, whatever, that's what it was. That's how mean that person is. Moving on. Because they're still connected to you too, unfortunately. So try to quell that. But anyway, my daughter is very masculine, very masculine. My son, on the other hand, who has a different father, so he has different DNA structure, different energies, right? 1111, when I said that, oh shit. Okay, so now, and 6 and 5 on the TV. Okay, so 6 and 5 is 11. So this is a message. Okay, this is the universe. So my son's father is a different DNA energy structure, whatever like that. So my daughter's father was an athlete, right? My son's father is a DJ, a musician, right? Deals with music. And I think those energies needed to be around me. Okay. They needed to be around me and be around one another. Okay. Now, there's many years difference between my daughter and my son, because she put me through so much. I didn't want to have any of the kids. Oh, my God. But by the time I got to, 32, and the opportunity presented itself, and it hadn't all those years. Not the opportunity, but I got pregnant, and I hadn't gotten pregnant all those years. God knows who they want you to have babies with, right? Your legacy, your ancestors, they know, right, what needs to be in their family, right? And who they're going to accept and who not they're going to accept. You can have all the free will you want. But once they get back and start checking their records and all that, they're like, oh, hell no. And something will happen, right? So be mindful of that, Just like the universe, something is going on and you'll have a miscarriage and things like that. There may be reasons for it that are physical, but if you can't find a physical reason for it, and then you get pregnant with someone else, know that that's what that was, okay? Know that was probably what that was. It was your ancestors saying, oh, no. It's cool and all that, but no, can't have that. That's what happens. So, anyway. My daughter is very masculine energy. My son is a more softer child. He's a more feminine energy. His father was the DJ, even though he had a job. I mean, he's a mechanic, right? So that's the magician energy, right? And the way her father played sports, that was magician energy too, right? So everything, the movements, right? The stability, the motion, all of that, these two energies, right? So they both came through me. Now my daughter has twins. She's the first one who's able to have twins that survived. In both our family lines, meaning on my parents' side. Her grandmother had miscarriages, but not twins. Not that she knew of. Could have been. But she had 2 miscarriages, and then she had her son and a daughter. So she has that son and daughter energy coming out of that energy too, right? 2 kids. So having us both on the same day, birthday, and having those different messages, because I'm not giving any bad, nothing. I'm not saying nothing negative in terms of her father. Nothing negative in terms of anybody, right? I talked to her grandparents, her grandmother and her grandfather until he passed away. And even, everybody. And made sure that she stayed in contact with them. And even times when she wasn't on the phone with them, they were on the phone with me, phone calls back and forth, Happy Mother's Day, Happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, all this other stuff. So it was family. The only piece that was missing was him, but that was his choice, right? He didn't want to be part of it, so because he didn't want to be part of it, he didn't want to be part of his parents' life either. That's how serious he was with it. And for whatever reason, that's the way it was supposed to be, right? Because it was only for this energy. Now, I did tell my daughter this. I said, listen, this has nothing to do with you, right? This is about your father and me. And at the end of the day, sooner or later, it was going to be that way, because I never told him no about anything. Anything he told me to do, I did, right? There wasn't nothing. I was typing his papers when he's off playing lacrosse and everything else, and he gets a diploma and I get nothing. But it's okay. Moving on, because I got her, right? That was my choice. But I stood up for myself against him, and he could never forgive that. And to the point where he told her later on, when he decided to talk to her when she was like 11 years old, he told her that I had betrayed him. What the fuck is that? Anyway, I betrayed him because I didn't have an abortion. That's the kind of bullshit that this person's brain was on, right? I get that he didn't want to be a father in the whole 9 yards. And, we had to make a decision. I made the decision I did. And I didn't ask him for child support until the child was 5 years old. But he was still acting ugly before there was any child support in it, right? So it wasn't about child support. And the child support I got, I took and bought a car so I could take her up to his parents, right? That was keeping us from spending all that money on airplane and me worrying back and forth and everything like that. So whatever, moving on from that. It's not about that. But she has his energy. She looks like him in the whole line of Mars. My son looks like my mother's side of the family, right? Like me. More like me. But, he's beautiful. So he looks more like my mother's side of the family, right? And his father's mother was beautiful. And when Aaron was first born, why did I say his name? But Aaron was first born, he reminded me of his grandmother on his father's side. Because it's like, who was it? It was beautiful, right? And that's who I thought he looked like for years. And then one day, this girl that used to do my hair said to me, she said, who he looks like? He looks like your mother. And I said, what? And she looked at my mother's picture, and she, was showing me in my phone. And I said, oh, wait a minute. And then I came home and I put both their graduation pictures together. I was like, oh, yeah, he does look like her. So that's that. So that's that feminine energy that I needed to have around me to keep me balanced, right? Because my daughter is an Aries and my son is a Virgo. But he was going to be a Leo, and I saved myself from that. So he was supposed to be a Leo, but I pushed the day back one just to give me a fighting chance, because a Sagittarius, an Aries, and a Leo in the house together, I thought that was been a little bit much. And that was long before I started doing this spiritual work, right? But I was always conscious of the astrology side of it. I was like, I think that's too much. But anyway, moving on. My daughter has twins, and their father's mother is twins. 2 girls, right? So they have aunts, great aunts, who are twins with their grandmother. And then my daughter has some mission to accomplish for the families. And they have a boy and a girl. So I was sitting here and I was going to say, I said, okay, so the blessing is my daughter, right? That's the blessing. But the part of it where I was saying that how could I pinpoint a time when she was even? And it was after she gave birth up until the time the babies turned 1 year, right? So that was 365 days, right? So that's postpartum depression that she normally would have had. I think because she had those energies in her, the hormones from carrying a boy and a girl, and it was balancing her out. But as it started to wear off, it was a year. Because it was like we had like the biggest birthday party in the world for our babies, right? And we were in Florida at Universal Studios. Okay, we were in Florida for their first birthday. Right, Universal. Right, Mother Dear and Teddy and Eddie were there. And Ava. Yes. Okay. And that's when they turned 1. We went to Wyndham, right, and we went to Universal Studios. Oh, we had such a good time. Such a good time. As a family, all of us were there. My mother, my sisters, my brother. We had adjoining rooms, and my cousin and her kids. So it was all the Bells energy and all the Roberts energy, and everything was around these 2 babies for their first birthday. And the day after, and I know it because the day after is the first of the year, New Year's Day, because their birthday is on New Year's Eve. Man. She was off. It was... Now, I'm saying all that to say this. There may be some of you who have experienced this. Maybe you have mothers, sisters, wives, cousins, yourself, who have dealt with postpartum depression. It is real. And it may last 6 months. You may not get it all or not notice it. But then there's severe. And with us having just gone through the COVID quarantine and everything, everybody's having mental health challenges. So imagine being postpartum and being having tendencies of that and dealing with the COVID thing, right? So I think it's doubled the chances of it coming. So maybe this is a warning. This is just advice. If you feel depressed, blue, think the baby has 3 heads or something like that, call somebody, get on the phone, call the mental health places and talk to somebody. Sometimes you can't talk to your husband, sometimes you can't talk to your family, whatever like that. You need somebody to talk to, pick up the phone and make those calls. Because if you push it away and push it away and push it away, it's going to come up sometime on somebody and it's not going to be pretty, right? And if you have other emotional challenges, not borderline, whatever, could be bipolar, could be anything. I don't think narcissism qualifies, folks, but it could. Don't know. I ain't a doctor. I'm just, look into it. Somebody's personality might mellow out right after they have babies, and then as soon as that hormone leaves them, they become, Godzilla or some shit. So I'm just saying. It probably wouldn't get that bad, but it might. I don't know the situations, and I'm just talking in hypotheticals. But I'm just saying, if you have that experience as a son, a grandson, a great-grandson, hi, son, just know. Others of you, if you're having those kind of challenges without being pregnant or having just had a baby, have your thyroids checked, because that was a problem that was part of their lineage on her father's side too, thyroid problems. Anyway, moving on, Patty. Let me see. Athletic, very quick, very quick. Left-handedness also, that's a trait. My mother's side had that. My mother is left-handed, but she writes with her right hand, but she does things with her left. She's ambidextrous mostly. And her father, my daughter's father, was also, went to Jesuit schools, Catholic schools, that kind of stuff. And the children go to Catholic school anyway. But that's okay. That's all right. It's good. It's good for them. 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 And they are athletic, both of them. My granddaughter is like a basketball player extraordinary, and my grandson is also, and he wants to be a sports announcer when he grows up, and she wants to be a doctor. So, see, those energies, different ones, but they make they make up that the masculine, they're balanced, and I see that in them, She can be a bit spicy, but he's gentle, But again, they're good with each other, They're supportive of one another. They're brothers and sisters. They're going to be funky to each other, just like we all are, right? Siblings, especially twins, but, they're a unit, and they know it, And my granddaughter, of course, is baby A, so she's a bit bossy sometimes, but she has his back, and he knows that, and that's what it's about, regardless of what. At the end of the day, this is your twin. Not perfect on either side, but they're your twin. And that's the other thing about the children. The blessing of my daughter to me is, my daughter is all of the expression of the anger that I, as my inner child, never expressed. My son is my expressions. He's music. He's acting. He's witty. He's a jokester. No, she's witty too. But they both have a dark humor, but that's just it, But he has a light humor too. But she is. And it might be some of her father's energy too, the anger of not being able to express yourself, of not being able to say things, the person you can't trust, the person you can't trust, that negative side of you, of me, of us, that is her. And I had to look at it. I had to nurture it. I had to mother that inner child in me that never had a voice, because she has a voice. Now, it's not that she and I know I'm her mother, right? I stand up to her, but like I said before, there's people she wouldn't have made it to. She wouldn't have made it to 18, much less 40-something at the time of this recording. Because it's been a trying experience. But that time that she wasn't pregnant, because when she was pregnant, she wasn't around me because I was done. But she was staying with my sister after she had the babies for a year, and it was fine. And then we had the birthday party, and it was on and popping. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm going to say, okay, the trip to Universal was for Thanksgiving, which was the month before. And that's where everybody was. So they were around that energy. And then the day of their birthday was in Virginia at my sister's. And they stayed there for a year. And everything was fine. But my sister, I don't know what happened, but she was like, I will kick this bitch in her stomach. She got to get out of my house, the way she talked to me. And we just left there. But I know, I got it. It was a shift. And I think it was the time. So what I'm saying is that if you had one baby, maybe it'll only be 6 months. Maybe if you had, other things going on, it'll be longer, but it's real. Don't poo-poo it. In Great Britain, I don't know if this is still a law, but I remember they would give a woman 18 months, to plead postpartum depression if they had killed a baby or hurt somebody or did something heinous. If they had just had a baby, they would have that time. That was an accepted plea, right, of guilt or innocence, not temporary insanity. It was postpartum depression, right? So, in case that helps anybody in the future also. Hopefully never not. Because like I said, that was over in Europe, in England. But, look into these things. It's real. Google that shit. And if you haven't had the baby yet, Google it beforehand so that you can see the symptoms and the warning signals, and so can your loved ones, okay? And if you know that you've experienced it before, you may experience it again, and it may be different, and it may be shorter depending on what you're thinking. If things are going on happy around you, you might. But if you start to get depressed or things are not the greatest and the best, you may have it. It could last a day. It could last a couple of days. But it could last weeks and months. And then there's postpartum psychosis. That's where you get to a place where you need to get a lawyer, right? So let's not get there, girls. So I think Med Health is sponsoring discounts or free sessions with therapists. New York City has free therapy lines that you can get the phone number. A lot of these different cities and states are doing that. You can call the suicide hotline and they will give you references and somebody to talk to. 3447 when I said that. So do that if that's what you need to do. at any time, but especially at times like this, right? After you've given birth. And especially since we just came out of quarantine. You might be more susceptible to it than you normally even would be. So maybe you've had a lot of kids and you didn't have any of those, challenges and symptoms. Just pay attention, all right? Or at least have the people around you pay attention to it, okay? But you'll be fine. We'll all be fine. We're all fine. We're all fine. She's fine. We're all fine. It's fine. We'll live through it. You just have to maneuver through it and be, see, someone just asked me, have I been in touch with my daughter in the messages? Yes. I just got finished texting her because her babies, my grandson went out to a dinner at a Korean buffet or something with a bunch of friends from high school. My son used to do those things too. It's very interesting. That's funny. Just thought about that. Yes. But anyway, I guess it'll be good for me to upload this so they could all see it. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see how it continues to go. But anyhow, yeah. We're speaking, She calls me. And I've established my boundaries, and she's been respectful of it, and I appreciate that too. So that's what I'm saying. We've grown up together, she and I, and but she couldn't be around me that close for this. No, not for this. My son, yes, because he's more gentle. He can go with the flow. And he understands me, and he likes me. And that was it. I had a child that was negative and a child that was positive. A child that loved me conditionally and a child that loved me unconditionally. And my spirituality was able to sustain me until I had a chance to just be in that energy without that. But I guess there's a part of me that must have missed that because I'm drawing all of these negatives back into my atmosphere. And I have to work on that. But that will be another video for another day. 3142 when I said that. Right? So anyway, for anybody that is listening and who needs to hear this, I hope this is helpful. And so I'll share more messages as I get them. And Midnight says hi again. She came and she parked herself here. If anybody wants to see Midnight, say hi. Yeah, there she is. Midnight. So anyhow, she must have heard me because she hasn't been around me all day long. And I've been cooking. Oh, I got to check that. I made collard greens. And I need to eat. So anyway, I'm going to talk to y'all later. And be good. And